Hi everybody. I've gotten a few requests over the last couple of days for a continuation of some of the videos that were posted last week. So this one is going to be a continuation of Beginner Samba that we started. Just to remind you, there were a couple of steps that we learned in the first video. The first step that we learned is to bounce in place. So we stood tall with our feet in our Latin posture, and we just started with our hands on our hips to keep it simple. And we bounce, bounce, bounce. The second one we learned is to go forward and back. So we go up, forward, down, bounce in place. Up, back and down, bounce in place. And then we learned a third step, and that was called the whisk. And that took us from side to side. So we go up, side down, cross behind, bounce in place. Up, down, cross behind, bounce in place. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the technique points and some of the steps that we learned last week. Some of it we'll re-review, some of it might be new information. I'm going to turn to the side to talk about the first one. The first thing to remember, and we talked about that last week, is as we bounce, we don't want to end up like this or like this. We're trying to stay really straight and just bounce in place. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep my hips and my shoulders roughly over my feet. I don't want to see this, or this one's hard to see from the side, but tipping to either side. So to do that, we have to engage our core. Remember, when we do that, we're thinking about taking our belly button a little bit closer to our spine. Not so close that we can't breathe, but also not completely relaxed like I'm just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. So I engage my core, I stack myself over my feet, and I bounce in place. That's it. We try and keep that posture through the other steps. So I engage my core, I stack myself over my feet, and I try and keep my upper body over my feet as I go forward and back. Good. So what I want to think about this week, what I'm adding on from last week, is keeping that core engaged through every part of the step. What I don't want is turn it on, and then relax halfway through, because that's how you get kind of like dumped into your posture or coming off of your feet. So I have to think about maintaining that the whole time. And if it helps, you can put one hand on your stomach and one hand on your back to remind yourself, stay toned, stay tight, keep my core engaged. Do you want to try that with music? Okay. Bounce and play. Forward and back. Side to side. And back to bounce. Good. Does it feel different when you remember to do that? You should feel more stable and like it's easier to stay over your feet even when you're moving and changing direction. That's what we use our core for, so that we can stay nice and strong on the top half and let our bottom half do all of the work. Yeah? So that's the review portion, and we added a little bit of technique for some of the steps that we learned last week. Now we're gonna add a new step. You could do this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take it from our whisk. So we're gonna go side, cross behind, bounce in place, side, cross behind, bounce in place, side, cross behind, bounce in place. I did 3. On the 4th one, this is where things are going to change. I'm going to go to the side, I'm going to cross behind like before, but instead of bouncing in place, I'm going to turn my direction. So I'm going to go up, down. I'm going to show it to you again. I'm going to show it to you from the back. So this one is my third whisk. I go side, cross behind, bounce in place. This is my fourth one. This is where I'm going to change. Bounce, cross, up, down. So I do a quarter turn and I do it towards my back foot. Yeah. One more time. This is my third whisk. Down, up, down. I'm going to go to the other side. This is my fourth one. This is where I change. Up, down, up, turn. After I turn, I've bounced on one leg. So this is my down, but I'm only doing it on one foot this time. My other leg is straight. Got the transition? All right. Let's try moving. So I've ended up here. Now I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's it. I'm going to show it to you one more time. We're going to go from the transition, okay? So I'm going to do my last whisk. Side, cross behind, up, down, up and step, down, up, down, up and step, down, up, down. Good. So we're going to start with our whisk. We're only going to do two. Ready? Side, up, down. Side, up, change. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Good. Let's do that one more time. Side, up, down. Side, up, change. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. One more time. I'm going to do it coming towards you. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. I think you got it. So normally in a sequence, I would want to do 4 of these. But for space reasons in my living room, 3 is about all I can fit in. So when you're practicing, try doing a sequence of 8 bounces in place. Then we'll do 8 counts of forward and back. So forward and back, forward and back. Then 8 counts of whisk, which means 4 times side to side. And then try doing 4 of these walks. Remember to change on your 4th whisk. You've done your last walk. You can just come up, do a quarter pivot, go back to your bounce. That's how you can connect back to your beginning for practice. That's it for Beginner Samba Part 2. Here's some practice music.
Just watch it. Echa pa' allá, todo lo malo echa pa' allá. Say with me. Echa pa' allá, todo lo malo echa pa' allá. Say yeah. Echa pa' allá, todo lo malo echa pa' allá. Say yeah. Echa pa' allá, todo lo malo echa pa' allá. Sube la mano pa' arriba, dale pa' abajo, dale pa' un lado, pa'l otro lado. Sube la mano pa' arriba, dale pa' abajo, dale pa' un lado, pa'l otro lado. Sube la